Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So what does food mean to you? Well, join me as this week's special guest is chef and food expert and food entrepreneur, Stef Drezga. He has a company called Chef's Mandala Gourmet, which makes these wonderful sauces from Italy. And in today's segment, besides interviewing Stephen, I got to cook in my studio kitchen a luscious Sicilian type of lasagna using sauces and some cheese from Sicily. And anyway, stay tuned for this segment. And I just wanted to remind everyone that we will be choosing questions from social media posts. So just if you have any questions you'd like me to ask some of my upcoming guests or questions for me, just post the questions with hashtag Ask Maria or post them on the comments of the blog at marialiberati.com or the marialiberatyshow.com. Just hashtag Ask Maria. Let me know. We're looking forward to your questions. And I just wanted to mention too that this week's segment I did in my studio kitchen, and you can look for the video of this week's segment to be on YouTube in about 2 weeks. We'll have this segment up with me making the lasagna with Chef's Mandala Gourmet sauces. So today my special guest is Chef Stef Drezga. And he has a really interesting background, but he also has these delicious, luscious pasta sauces that, Steph, they're made in Italy, right?
Yes, ma'am. They're made down in the south of Italy and Sicily, all in small batches,
Yeah.
with mostly local ingredients.
Wow. And tell us the name of the company. It's Chef Mandala. Is that correct?
Yes, so Chef's Mandala was launched about a year ago, and we
Uh-huh.
focus on importing very high quality, small production items you
Okay.
wouldn't normally be able to find like in a big grocery store or anything like that.
Okay. So while I'm talking to you, I want to get started doing this delicious lasagna. So let me hold up the sauces we're going to use for the lasagna.
Sure.
So we're going to use the lemon basil. And if you want to tell us anything about this, but wait, I'm going to show them that also the eggplant parm sauce, right?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so
so
go ahead. Yes, feel free. I'm going to be cutting and chopping as you're
okay.
talking. Tell us about the sauces.
No, this is awesome. I get to watch someone else cook. It's fun. So, the two sauces that you're using, the first one, the lemon and basil, we use lemons only from Sicily. Sicily is a little unusual in that there's a volcano present, and it's a lot of volcanic ash is present in the soil.
Oh,
This really changes the flavor, in particular of the lemons and the eggplants. And Sicily's become quite famous for that. The U.S. equivalent might be a Meyer lemon. I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of Meyer lemons, but
yes.
watch now we're going to get angry emails from the Meyer Lemon Association. So, in any event, that's why. Also, I think it's a nice summery recipe. It's the citrus element makes it a little bit light. It's also very low in calories. A lot of the pasta sauces on the shelf are going to be like 150 to 200 calories, and ours is just a fraction of that. So, if you're looking for something that's a red sauce but light and summery, it's a great one to choose. The second sauce is the eggplant with Parmesan cheese. So, eggplant is an interesting creature. We actually slice it in small pieces, sear it, and then we slowly cook it in the sauce. That, of course, is contributing a little bit to changing the flavor, giving it a bit more of a, let's call it a restaurant kind of taste to it, versus a lot of people who cook eggplant don't really appreciate why it's rubbery. It's rubbery because they're cooking it wrong, if that makes sense. So what is the white thing in the
Oh,
pot that
so
you,
when I do lasagna, I love to put parchment paper down
oh,
on the
really?
bottom so
Oh,
I
that's
can just
interesting.
pull it out after it's cooked. I do that
Huh.
with a lot of my cakes and actually lots of things that I bake because you can just pull it out. So it
Okay.
doesn't affect the flavor or anything. And it actually is easier when you go to clean the plate. But it's really easy for presentation because you pick it up, put it on the dish, then just pull off the parchment paper. But I have to tell you, this sauce smells absolutely delicious. I'm opening the lemon. So what I'm doing is I'm first drizzle a little olive oil, put some of the lemon basil sauce down. And now I'm going to put the first layer of lasagna leaves on lasagna pasta on top of the sauce. And I know you have the eggplant parm sauce, but I wanted to put some slices of eggplant in between the layers, and I have a cheese that is actually from Sicily, the caciocavallo.
Yeah, that's a beautiful cheese.
People always think of mozzarella and ricotta, but there are so many different ways to do lasagna. So I'm going to do the caciocavallo cheese in between the layers also. So
is the caciocavallo the smoked or is it the unsmoked?
It's unsmoked.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a good call. No, I love that cheese when they hang it and it's got like that big like pear bottom and then that little hoof on the top. That's why cavallo is, as you know, Italian for horse. That's how it was named for that. So no, that's a beautiful cheese. It's hard to get in the US these days.
It's hard to get. Yes, I knew somebody that was going to Italy, and let me just open this, and they were able to bring it back for me, and it was perfect timing. So
customs better not listen to this broadcast.
Yes, no. Oh gosh, this eggplant parm smells so good. I wish.
Thank you.
I wish I could send the smell.
Yeah, that would be an interesting experience. But yeah, that actually we have another flavor that I created, and it's interesting. A lot of people are almost like terrified when I show it to them. It's a Sicilian tuna with white wine and capers. And when people open it, they're like, well, because unfortunately, I think a lot of people are scared of fish, and they really shouldn't be. It's a very healthy alternative.
People are. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. But like Italian food is mostly seafood. I mean, it makes sense considering the coastline. So I wanted to design recipes that were nice, but were not like overpowering. The one exception is our truffle recipe because people were like, if it doesn't smell like truffle, they feel like they're getting shortchanged. So we loaded up on that. Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, because I know this is an interview, but so when you're cooking the lasagna and you're using olive oil, what temperature are baking the lasagna at?
I have to tell you, my preference is to use fresh lasagna, but because we're doing this for the podcast, we only have a certain amount of time. I'm using oven ready lasagna.
Sure.
This bakes at 400 degrees. If I was using fresh lasagna, I probably might be baking it at 425.
So this is, and I should say my background is primarily in French cuisine.
Right.
So I mean, making a sauce, the French, that they don't shut up about how good they are at that. And to be fair, they are very good. But it's interesting to me because the burn point of olive oil, a lot of people will cook with olive oil, but they'll do like 500-degree temperatures. And I always think like that's kind of a bad idea for olive oil.
No. Yeah, it is. It is. Well, I have to say though, I will tell you, I've done segments with pizzaiolos, and in fact, we did a home cooking segment with pizza in the oven. Now, you're just doing a drizzle of olive oil, but it was at 500 degrees, and it actually we didn't have any problems. But I do see. So, by the way, I'm layering this caciocavallo. I cut it in strips.
Oh, nice. That's a beautiful pale yellow color on that.
And the sauce, yes, it is. But you can, this I only bake at 425, but we did do pizza, and we didn't have problems with the olive oil. Usually it's frying at really high temperatures.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of chefs frying garlic, and it just is burnt, and it gives a bitter taste to the dish. So that I would definitely be careful of.
Well, I think Italian dishes in general, they're based on the quality of the ingredients, right? They're and I don't mean simple in a negative sense. I do mean though in a pure, beautiful sense. And if you don't use very good ingredients, I feel like Italian cuisine really is not the one to do that with. It's not very forgiving, if that makes sense. Whereas with French cuisine, if you're going to throw that bread out, they recycle it.
Yes. Italian cuisine generally, like French cuisine is made up, as you studied it, so much, ingredients and all the preparation and all. Italian cuisine is made up usually each dish is only made up of a small amount of ingredients. Let me get back on camera.
Sorry.
So you have to use the best ingredients to
Yeah.
really get that flavor. You're absolutely right. I have to tell everyone this eggplant parm, there's gigantic chunks of eggplant in here. Oh my gosh.
No, thank you. Thank
So
you.
good. So my last layer, I did 3 layers, and my last layer is gonna have, I put a little bit of each of the sauces on top. And now I have the caciocavallo. So Stephen, tell people where they can find this. I have this ready to go in the oven. So I put my oven at 400 degrees. This is oven ready lasagna, as mentioned. Since it's just for the podcast, I did oven ready lasagna, but I prefer using fresh lasagna. There's nothing like but sometimes if you get oven ready lasagna, make sure it has durum wheat semolina and eggs in it. You can find that, and that will be a better quality than some of this stuff out there. But I'm ready to put this in the oven, but I just wanted to tell people definitely where they can purchase this stuff, because this is like, it's and the reason that it's less calories, like you were saying, it's healthy for you, but because you don't put a lot of junk in it, it's real ingredients.
Yeah, it's all natural. We do a little bit of truffle oil in the truffle sauce one. That's all the other ones you're going to see, it's literally just like you would see in a restaurant. It's made that way. So in terms of where you can get it, we are a small company, so we're in the Northeast. So basically from Rhode Island all the way down to Florida, we're in a few smaller chains. We're in King's, we're in Dave's, Roach Brothers up by Boston. But we're not in any big chains. If you go to our website, we have a whole page where you just hit in your address and it'll show you the closest people that have it. And that's CHEFSMANDALA.com. There you can find it. We do have a very tiny and humble online store, which is basically me going, please buy my stuff, and that's about it.
Well, and hopefully, I know we talked about this, we'll talk about it further. I wanted to make it available on marialiberati.com also, which it may be in the near future too. So, but yes, you need, if you don't have the time to make your own sauce, I know a lot of people don't, and they settle for that stuff that's in the grocery stores. That's just like a bunch of chemicals. This is the stuff you really need to get if you don't have the time to make it and you want something healthy and delicious for your family. And I'm going to have the recipe of the lasagna that I just made with the 2 sauces on my website for the marialiberati.show.com. And then, maybe you can give me, I will put the link to the site.
So
people can purchase and know where to purchase. But there's I guess before we go to, let me just tell everybody. So all the flavors that I have, I know you have, let's see. So we did the eggplant parmesan and the lemon basil.
Yes, ma'am.
You have black truffle.
We have, so our flavors are a little unusual. We have black truffle with mushroom, and I did mushroom specifically because they're also a fungi. And so we have, you can see little tiny pieces of black truffle throughout the sauce, but what happens is the mushrooms absorb the truffle flavor. So it's like you're eating a big truffle, but you're not paying for gigantic truffles in your sauce. So we also have, a grana padano, which is a cheese sauce. Unfortunately, with my background in food, I was a moron, and I thought everybody knows grana padano, and no, apparently a lot of people
don't know.
So, but we have a grana padano cheese sauce that needs to be better labeled. I'm also looking, so don't forget. We do have a marinara because you have to have a marinara. Everybody's like, that's the gateway drug into the other sauces, essentially.
Exactly. Right? Yes.
And then we have an olive, and we use Castelvetrano olives from Sicily, and we do a thicker cut because they're very buttery. So you actually taste olive, unlike a lot of recipes where they use like those really cheap, horrible, like deli olives that you get that are pre-sliced and they have no flavor.
Absolutely. And flavor, that's the key. I can smell the flavor just coming out of the jars. So, once somebody tastes this sauce, versus the stuff that, is out there. It's just not anything in comparison. So, and the thing I want to say too, people don't realize when you get really high quality ingredients, like we were saying, real Parmigiano Reggiano versus Parmesan, you don't need as much to get that flavor. You don't need to douse stuff with all tons and tons, because most of the stuff you buy in the regular grocery store is not real. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
That's great. All right. So we're going to put the recipe and the link to Chef's Mandala on my website. And I'm going to bake the lasagna. I'll put a picture, maybe we'll share on social media, of the baked lasagna.
Great.
I'll plate it too, because it smells so good. I know what I'm having for dinner tonight. I won't be able to resist that. And I know, I want to tell people too, I'll be working with some more of Chef's Mandala products on my new upcoming series on eatthis.tv. So stay tuned for that. That'll be next month, and more to come with the sauces. So Stef, thank you so much for being here. And that's chefsmandala.com, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Chefsmandala.com. Okay, great. And again, I'll have this recipe on the MariaLiberatiShow.com and Maria Liberati later this week, so you can create this recipe at home. Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks to my producer, Britton Roselle, and this week's special guest, Stef Drezga from Chef's Mandala Gourmet, and the recipe that I made today in my studio kitchen while I interviewed Stef Drezga. The recipe will be on the blog at marialiberati.com and the marialiberatishow.com, where you can find out more about Chef's Mandala Gourmet sauces. And don't forget to post any questions for me, for upcoming guests, or for me at #AskMaria on social media. Just post #AskMaria with your question, and we'll be picking up the questions and using them for upcoming segments, for upcoming shows. And as always, you can find me on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on Twitter at Maria Liberati, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, on LinkedIn at M Liberati, and let's see, on my Roku channel, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking by Maria Liberati, and on my Vimeo channel, Maria Liberati. And until next time, peace, love, and pasta.